Breaking news in the WWE Universe. Just moments ago, Bronson Reed unleashed absolute chaos. Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker are down. The carnage was unreal. This is not a drill, wrestling fans, we have a major situation unfolding right now. I'm breaking down everything that just happened. This is Suplex Rumble, and you need to hear this. Suplex Rumble family, what we just witnessed was pure devastation. Let me set the scene for those who missed it. The WWE landscape just changed dramatically. Bronson Reed, the 330-pound colossal force from Australia, has just made a statement that will echo through the entire wrestling world. Paul Heyman, the legendary Wiseman, the advocate, the special counsel who has been a cornerstone of WWE for decades, is down. And Braun Breaker, one of the most explosive young stars in the entire company, a second-generation powerhouse with unlimited potential, also down. The severity of this attack cannot be overstated. Medical personnel rushed to the scene immediately. The atmosphere backstage is reportedly in complete shock. Superstars, officials, everyone is trying to process what just transpired. This wasn't a wrestling match, folks. This wasn't competition. This was a statement of dominance from the big Bronson Reed, and the entire WWE roster just got put on notice. Let me walk you through exactly what went down, moment by moment. According to reports and eyewitness accounts, this situation developed rapidly. Bronson Reed apparently confronted both Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker in what was supposed to be a backstage segment. Tensions had been building, we'll get into the backstory in just a moment, but nobody expected this level of violence. The attack was brutal and relentless. Bronson Reed, utilizing his incredible size and power advantage, overwhelmed both men. We're talking about a man who has made a career out of devastating his opponents, and tonight, he held nothing back. From what we're hearing, Reed utilized his signature power-based offense. Heavy strikes, crushing blows, and that unstoppable momentum that makes him one of the most dangerous big men in professional wrestling today. The details are still emerging, but sources indicate that Paul Heyman attempted to talk Reed down because that's what the Wiseman does, right? He's a master manipulator, a brilliant strategist. But tonight, words meant nothing to Bronson Reed. The big boy from down under was on a mission. Braun Breaker, never one to back down from a fight, apparently tried to physically intervene. The second-generation superstar has that Steiner DNA flowing through his veins, he's fearless. But even Breaker's incredible athleticism and power weren't enough to stop the rampaging Bronson Reed. Now, this didn't come out of nowhere, Suplex Rumble family. Let's connect the dots and understand the heat that led to this explosive situation. Bronson Reed has been on an absolute tear recently. The man has been demanding respect, demanding opportunities, and making it crystal clear that he feels underutilized and overlooked. And you know what? When you look at what Reed brings to the table, the size, the agility for a man his weight, the devastating offense, you can understand his frustration. Then you have Paul Heyman. The Wiseman has been pulling strings, making moves, aligning himself with top talent throughout WWE's landscape. Heyman's influence is undeniable. He's been the advocate for some of the biggest names in wrestling history, and his current associations have kept him at the center of WWE's most important storylines. Braun Breaker represents the future of WWE. This young man has been positioned as a can't-miss prospect. The athleticism, the intensity, the legacy he carries as part of the legendary Steiner family. Breaker has been fast-tracked toward main event status. Here's where it gets interesting. Reports suggest that Bronson Reed felt disrespected by both men. Whether it was Heyman's political maneuvering keeping Reed out of important opportunities, or Breaker being given preferential treatment that Reed felt he deserved, the resentment had been building. There may have been verbal confrontations in recent weeks. Subtle jabs, dismissive comments, the kind of psychological warfare that WWE is famous for. Every slight, every perceived insult, every time Bronson Reed was overlooked, it was adding fuel to an already dangerous fire. And tonight? That fire exploded into an inferno of violence and chaos. Let's break down the massive implications of what just transpired, because this changes everything. For Bronson Reed, this is his defining moment. Love him or hate him, you cannot ignore Bronson Reed after tonight. This is the kind of statement that forces WWE management to pay attention. Reed just inserted himself into the main event conversation through sheer force and aggression. But here's the question, what are the consequences? Is Reed going to face disciplinary action? Suspension? Fines? Or is WWE going to recognize that this kind of intensity and star-making aggression is exactly what creates compelling television and must-see moments? For Paul Heyman, the Wiseman has been in dangerous situations before. This is a man who has been in the wrestling business for over 30 years. But this attack adds another layer to his ongoing storylines. How does Heyman respond? Does he seek retribution? Does he use his political connections to make Reed's life a living nightmare? And remember, Paul Heyman doesn't get physical, he gets strategic. The Wiseman's revenge won't come in a wrestling ring, it'll come through manipulation, through aligning the right people against Reed, through making sure karma catches up with the big Bronson. For Braun Breaker, this might be the most significant impact of all. Breaker's been positioned as an unstoppable force, a future world champion, but being laid out by Bronson Reed adds depth to his character. How does a proud competitor like Breaker handle being overcome? Does this create an obsession with getting revenge? Does this fuel an even more intense, more aggressive version of Braun Breaker? The wrestling world is exploding right now, folks. Social media is going crazy. Fans are debating whether Bronson Reed crossed the line or whether this was the ultimate power move. The hashtags are trending worldwide. This is the kind of moment that transcends just the WWE fanbase. This is mainstream attention. Some fans are calling Reed a monster who went too far. Others are saying this is exactly the kind of edge and unpredictability that WWE has been missing. The debate is intense, and that's what makes this so compelling. Industry insiders are already speculating about where this leads. Are we looking at a major feud between Reed and Breaker? Will Paul Heyman orchestrate some kind of elaborate revenge scheme? Could this situation draw in other superstars who have alliances with Heyman or respect for Breaker? The locker room reaction is reportedly mixed. Some wrestlers are apparently furious that Reed would attack in such a manner. Others are privately acknowledging that Reed did what he felt he had to do to get noticed. That's the complex reality of WWE. Sometimes you have to create your own opportunities. WWE officials are reportedly in emergency meetings right now figuring out how to handle this situation. This is the kind of incident that requires immediate response. Do they capitalize on this heat and build it into a major storyline, or do they address it from a disciplinary standpoint? So where do we go from here, Suplex Rumble family? Let's talk about the fascinating possibilities. Scenario 1, the suspension. WWE could suspend Bronson Reed for his actions, which would actually build the heat even more. Imagine Reed coming back from suspension even more dangerous, even more resentful, ready to destroy everyone in his path. That's money. Scenario 2, the triple threat situation. What if this evolves into a complex three-way dynamic? Reed versus Breaker in a physical war, while Heyman pulls strings from the outside, manipulating both men? That's compelling long-term storytelling. Scenario 3, the faction warfare. Could Heyman recruit allies to take out Bronson Reed? Imagine the Wisemen assembling a group of elite talent specifically to make Reed's life miserable. That creates multiple feuds and match opportunities. Scenario 4, the uncontrollable monster. WWE leans into Reed as an unstoppable force of nature. He goes on a rampage through the roster, taking out everyone until someone can finally stop him. That's classic monster heel booking. Medical updates on Heyman and Breaker will be crucial. If WWE plays this seriously, selling real injuries, selling real consequences, it makes everything feel more important and legitimate. That's how you create stars and memorable moments. One thing's for certain, Bronson Reed will be the most talked about superstar in WWE after tonight. Whether you love him or hate him, you're going to be watching to see what he does next. Here's my take on this whole situation, and I want to be completely honest with you. Moments like this are what create legends in professional wrestling. Think about the most memorable attacks, the most shocking moments in WWE history. They're remembered because they felt real, they felt dangerous, they felt unpredictable. Bronson Reed just had his defining moment. Whether this was planned perfectly by WWE creative or whether Reed took initiative and forced their hand, it worked. We're all talking about it. We all want to see what happens next. The wrestling business is built on larger-than-life personalities willing to do whatever it takes to reach the top. Reed just showed that hunger, that desperation, that unwillingness to be ignored any longer. For Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker, this creates incredible storytelling opportunities. Both men are now in positions where their responses will define the next chapters of their WWE careers. This is professional wrestling at its most compelling, when actions have consequences, when emotions feel genuine, when the line between performance and reality gets blurred just enough to make everything feel important. What's your take on this insane situation? Do you think Bronson Reed crossed the line, or was this exactly what he needed to do? How should WWE respond? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from all of you. Make sure you smash the like button if you want us to keep covering breaking WWE news the moment it happens. Subscribe to Suplex Rumble and hit that notification bell so you never miss when major stories break. Share this video with every wrestling fan you know. They need to know what went down tonight. I'll be monitoring this situation closely and bringing you updates as they develop. This is just the beginning of what could be the storyline of the year. I'm your host, and remember, in WWE, expect the unexpected. Stay tuned to Suplex Rumble for all the latest. We'll see you in the next one.